A few things that I think have really stood out. Number one, I mean, just the pace of change. I talk to companies today about what I call the scaled emerging technologies, and scaled is an acronym that stands for sensors, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, localized knowledge, things like aerial imagery, GPS, et cetera, efficiencies of the back office, RPA, OCR, NLP type technology, and then digital distribution and communication. We've seen a rise, particularly in the small commercial space, of so many different marketplaces and small
total
commercials
battleground
going the way
today.
of personal lines. Exactly right. Yeah. So, and I wish I had that framework in the book, right? Because I know that that's a very accessible framework that a lot of people have kind of latched onto. And I've had a lot of wonderful conversations in the talks that I give and trainings that I do for corporate clients kind of around those concepts and how, right, their companies are responding to that. I talk a little bit about this in the book, but kind of subsequently I've written articles on it and had conversations about, hey, guess what? The independent insurance agent isn't dead yet, right? They haven't gone the way of travel agents. And we see companies like, Hippo, Neptune, many others where they may have started saying, hey, this is just a middleman, right? We're going to cut out some costs. We're going to go direct to consumer, to kind of realize, hey, actually, like what they do from a customer acquisition cost is pretty efficient compared to trying to be out there on their own. And hey, there's all this, servicing aspects of the policy and other things that agents handle that I've got to handle on my own if I don't have that aspect. So I just find that really fascinating that a lot of these companies, they may sell direct and through agents, but 90 to 95% of the sales are actually through the agency channel rather than the direct channel. I don't think that's something that I would have, I didn't predict the demise of agents or anything like that, as many people have done for now, 2 decades, but I don't think I saw just the staying power. And now we're seeing a lot of technology innovation around the agent broker channel, which is really exciting. And that wasn't really explicit, at the time the book came out. One other interesting thing I think is just this idea of companies starting as technology companies and then making the pivot to be either an MGA or MGU, where quite frankly, like the sales cycle into the industry has been really challenging and difficult and long. People talk about, being left at the altar right after dating for so many years, right? And trying to make that relationship happen. And so there's obviously companies like Lemonade, like Hippo, I think have kind of, Kin, another one, some of the successful exits that companies have had or growth, right? A lot of investors were kind of saying, hey, what are you doing to be an MGA? There was kind of a whole round of founders since the book came out that said, my VC backers and my board, they want to know what it takes to become an MGA, right? Can you help me with that and whatnot? I was positioning myself initially only as a technology play. And there's this whole aspect almost of like eat your own dog food. Hey, if you have some special insider data and you think you can reduce losses, right? Well, they're trying to convince some carrier to take a risk on you. Like, why not just get backing from a reinsurer or somebody and, let's prove it yourself that way. The other thing too, that I think is kind of interesting is the paradigm of the reactive nature to the more of the proactive nature. Embedded insurance is a feature among a broader offering, right? Where you're tying some type of risk prevention to the industry. And I think a fascinating trend is that, over time, I think you're going to start actually seeing individual kind of non-catastrophe risks get lower and lower through, right, as we see more and more kind of successful risk prevention. But yet catastrophic risk, I think, is going to grow, where you see it not just with natural catastrophes and climate change, but you're going to see it with, cyber risks, obviously the pandemic, things like that. I'm Rob Galbraith, and this is The Future of Insurance.